Another stressor for a campus student is definitely relationships. I think it would be right to actually mention that because
Hi guys, my name is Alvin Maina and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to have our very first episode of our mental health show, and I'm joined here with a very beautiful guest, Ivy Morugi.
Hi guys, my name is Ivy Morugi. I'm a fourth year student studying at the University of Nairobi, pursuing counseling psychology. Very passionate mental health advocate, running an initiative called Healing Invisible Wounds, where we just seek to normalize conversations on mental health and provide safe spaces for young people to be able to find psychosocial support to deal with everyday stresses that they go through. And I'm glad to be on today's episode with Alvin.
So in our episode today, we are going to be discussing about mental health in school and how it affects various students. So I hope you know that in 1 out of 5 students, or rather children and youth, they are affected by mental health.
Yes, I do know because these are the same students that we get to meet within our course of work. And definitely, I think those are global statistics. So narrowing it down to Kenya, you will definitely see the prevalence of the problem as well. So yeah, they're true.
Yeah, that's a wide range of information, but now we want to specifically narrow it down to how mental health affects us when we are in school, whatever the level, either primary, secondary, or even campus.
Yes.
So like in campus, it's very overwhelming for students. So what do you think could be one of the main causes what people get to experience mental health?
Well, there are a variety of causes. I think I can start from the campus level because it translates down to even the other levels down below. So a campus student is exposed to so much. One, we have those of us that are coming from very dysfunctional families or very challenging backgrounds. So the issue of finances definitely comes into play because with campus, again, you're now an adult that's supposed to figure out how you're going to feed. You're supposed to figure out how you're going to get your assignments done. You have projects, you have attachments, you have papers you're supposed to print, you have books that you're supposed to buy. So finances sometimes can be a really big struggle, and they can be a very big stressor for a person because you don't have multiple sources of income and you're limited to staying in class again because of class attendance. So it becomes really hard for you to be flexible enough to actually find other sources of income. Dysfunctionality also comes into place in terms of your social self. Some of us have grown up in backgrounds where there's a lot of violence. Our parents are not in the best of terms. There's sibling rivalry. So you do not have that support system that can actually be able to surround you and give you that comfort when you're going through very tough times. So that's why you see most people, instead of now dealing with their stressors or finding people that they can talk to, they will resort into drug and substance abuse as a way of coping. Because again, you're looking at your friends, and again, I'm going to put men in this picture. You have a problem, you don't want to speak to your fellow man. You can go to your mother or your father because society has brought up us up in this patriarchal way where a man is supposed to mask the emotion. Sorry. So I don't feel like I can talk to my friend. I don't feel like I can talk to my parents back at home. So I am going to look for a substitute to be able to cope with my stressor. I go to drugs and substance abuse. Within no time, it becomes a habit. I'm already into addiction, you see. Then again, there's the pressure that we have from school because there's a lot you're supposed to cover within a very short period.
Yes,
so you have group assignments, you have your classwork, and again, some of us that now feel we need to go that extra mile to be able to look for that extra source of income, you have that coming into place. There's the expectations that your parents have placed upon you. We want a first class honors no matter the course you're doing.
They clearly don't know how tough it is
exactly
to be in school right now.
They don't understand what exactly you're going. They just by all means they want that first class, and they're comparing you now to other relatives, to sons and daughters of their own friends, and they expect you to be on that same level. Not forgetting the fact that some of us are actually pursuing these courses because they are the people that pushed us into those courses in the first place, and they expect you to deliver despite it not being something that you're passionate about. Then of course there's the tension that comes with you're getting like for example you are about to get done with school, so what next? You don't have that surety that once I'm done with campus and I graduate and I have my certificate, I'm definitely going to get absorbed into the job market.
There's no assurance.
There's no assurance. So that can really be a stressor for you as a person, because you don't know what's next. You don't know how you're going to pay your bills. Your parents will wash their hands and they're like, I've paid your school fees, I've provided everything. You actually now the one that is supposed to be giving me back the money every other day. You expect me to send them something at home. So that unsurety can really put a lot of tension into you, and especially for those that are in their last year of campus. Another stressor for a campus student is definitely relationships. I think it would be right to actually mention that, because it's something we are all experiencing.
It's good to mention it because people are actually in relationships in campus.
Yes.
Because you're in that adulthood phase and you're starting to getting to know and meet new people.
Exactly.
You want to show maybe your friends, you know what?
Sure.
Even
they have a girlfriend. Yeah, and then we have the parents back at home being like, come back with 2 degrees, your certificate, and also bring us somebody. So as you progress, they are definitely going to expect you to get to graduate, to get a job. They want you to start a family. So this is also a case where so many of us are experimenting, trying to get into romantic relationships. Some work. I've seen some very beautiful relationships that actually started in campus, but then again, some don't work because of all the dynamics that are involved. You get a girlfriend who's placing so much pressure on you. They want 1, 2, 3 things being done to them the same way they're seeing with their friends, and you don't have the financial capability to do that. But they're putting you on your toes. It's either you do that or like, oh, I have someone else coming into place. You see,
the competition
it's tough. Exactly. So those standards being set, and now you not being able to meet them again. Sometimes violence will come into place, and then because we don't have these. We've not really had these discussions even with our parents. So you find the dynamics in the relationship are very awkward, and we have so many people breaking up. So people are dealing with heartbreaks every other time. And because again they don't know, or rather have all this information on mental health as a whole, you find a person jumping from one relationship to another. So they're carrying so much baggage
from the other relationship
to the next, instead of first taking some time back and healing.
Yeah.
So you just keep on adding onto all the problems that you have. I think the last one I can talk about is stigma, or rather discrimination that is bestowed upon some individuals based on maybe their culture, their religion, and those type of a thing.
Yes.
So it comes with the pressure of now you as a person wanting to fit in with everybody else.
Yeah, I get that point, because like in campus it's a vast world. There are so many people, so many cultures, different types of personalities. You want to fit in everywhere. It's just a mess.
Yeah, so it can be really a struggle when you're not now being able to find that clique that you actually identify with and can blend in well. You want people to look at you in this way, but they're not looking at you in this way because of 1 or 3 factors. So that can be a stressor for you if you're not being able to make friends like everybody else. What will be different with maybe the high schoolers and the primary school kids is with campus students now you get to experience so many stresses at once. And then there's also the struggle that comes with freedom. When we're in primary school and high school, at least we have our parents guiding us on 1 to 3 things. But you get to campus and they expect you to make all the decisions like a grown-up. You see, in high school and primary, at least you can be able to run to them and consult on 1 to 3 things. But on campus, it's like you're on your own in a certain type of way. So it's a tough world for us as young people. Yeah.
I'm not even talking much because I'm impressed. I mean, like, I would just want to go back to a few of the points you have mentioned. Like for the first point that you said about finances. Yeah, not all of us come from very good backgrounds.
Sure.
Some of us come from rich backgrounds, others middle class, others come from backgrounds that they cannot be able to provide for themselves. But now when you come to campus, it's a new world.
Sure.
You're introduced to a new world. There's what you know that is left back at home. Back at home, the situation is like this, but when you come to campus, you'll meet with new people.
Yeah.
And new people come with new experiences. And they'll be telling you, we can do this, you can come hang out with us. So if your friends want to go to KFC, and you at home, you cannot afford that meal at KFC, but since you don't want to be left out, you go and hang out with them. So maybe you'll meet like that student, first of all, will start taking loans so that he or she can be able to keep up with that lifestyle they are implementing on themselves. So, like, do you think that really affects the mental state of that person? Because eventually, at one point, these actions that they are doing will catch up with them. They'll be like, I can't afford this lifestyle anymore, but they still want to fit in. Do you think that could also be a major factor?
Yes, it definitely is, because there's something called an anxiety disorder. It's something that a person will definitely develop if you're trying to do that sort of fitting in. I already talked about that struggle of wanting to be like so and so and hanging out with a particular clique. So you're going to be going beyond your means. One, there are those that will go to stress their parents and they're like very demanding, you know. It definitely causes a lot of friction between you and your parent. So even when you have other issues besides finances, you cannot actually go to speak to them because there's already that conflict and the bond has been broken. Because every other time you're like, mom, nataka pesa, and they're like, nilikutumia pesa last week, umetumia wapi, you see. So it becomes a huge struggle. So definitely it will be. And again, looking at these are campus students, they don't have all these sources of finance that can be able to come into play and clear the debts. So I'm left with Tala, I'm left with Fuliza, I'm left with Okash, all of them. I have ninapelekwa mpaka CRB, you see. So you're definitely going to be stressed about how you're going to get all this income to be able to clear your debts. Because the truth is, your friends who are from these very privileged backgrounds will always have the money to go to every other place. So are you the person that is now going to have to struggle every other time? You have debts left, right, and center. It will get to a point where you're going to run out of options of where to collect all this money.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think fitting in is really a struggle many people face, and people should just learn how to live within their own means. It will save them a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's very good. Now, you have said that when they try to fit in, eventually it will start leading up to problems, right? It will start affecting them mentally. Now that's where finding substitutes come in, right? You have said that some of them will go and engage in drugs and other things.
Sure.
So can you explain to us now, like, that process? They have gone, they have found out they like this drug, wamekuwa introduced kwa hiyo drug, then they start abusing it, then they become addicts. Do you think that will worsen the mental state? Already they are in a worse mental state than when they came into campus. Do you think that will worsen it?
It definitely worsens, and I think something maybe our audience doesn't know is that substance use disorder is considered a mental illness. Actually, there's a classification that professionals in the mental health field usually use. It's called the DSM-5. So it classifies substance use disorders as a mental illness. So once you come to a place like where I'm on attachment at Mathari National Hospital, you'll be admitted into the hospital as a patient to go through the rehabilitation program. And I think most of the young people don't really get the impact that these drugs have on them. You do not see the short-term effects, but in the long term, they really mess you up. They break your relationships, you lose control over your life. Like, you get a very big gap of your life where you always have this regret. I wish 1 to 3 years of my life I had not done these things. It really pulls you back, because any amount of money that you're getting, you channel it into addiction, you see? You channel it into buying your friends and trying to impress them. You channel it into all these wrong sources, because again, when you're tipsy and when you're high and under the influence, it definitely gives you ideas to spend money in other very awkward ways, you know, paying for gas and other kind of a thing. So it brings a very huge gap to you as a person in terms of finances. Again, it also impacts on your physical health as a person, because talk about things like liver cirrhosis. It comes as a result of excessive alcohol intake. So it exposes you to a lot, and we're not seeing the impact right now. But 5-10 years down the line is when reality is going to hit you, and you're like, I wish I hadn't done all the 3 things.
Right now we're just seeing sherehe.
Yeah, right now it's just sherehe. But now it's just sherehe, but the impact is, I wouldn't say that now you lock yourself up and not do all these things, but of course,
do
when
them
anything, yes, when if anything is done in excessive, then it becomes poisonous. So do it with regulation. And if you say like you cannot be able to regulate yourself, you don't have those boundaries, then don't do it at all. Yeah.
Thank you even for clarifying to our audience that there is a drug abuse disorder. But now, there is a topic I find very fascinating. Like, for those of us who went to boarding schools when we were young, that thing was traumatic. For some people it was fun, for some people they coped with it well.
Yeah.
But for me, remember, I struggled. That first year, vile nilipelekwa boarding, I really struggled because you're trying to adjust to this new environment, this new lifestyle you're not accustomed to. Do you think that a major part of the trauma that our youths are experiencing right now could have come from their childhood, how they grew up, or rather they were raised?
Yeah, sure, it does play a role. In psychology, there's something we usually call adverse childhood experiences. These are traumatic events that a young person or rather a child could have gone through and then not dealt with them. So they manifest themselves in adulthood, and it will be displayed mostly with their relationships and even in their families. So yes, it does, because some of the experiences we had there, not just the boarding schools, but also those that were exposed to things like bullying. Although I've not had it with so many of the girls' schools, I think it's more prominent in the boys.
You are lucky. Others would like to disagree. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a different world. Like when you're going to boarding schools, like unaenda unapata sijui githeri, it's not even well cooked food.
Yeah, this is not what you're accustomed to in your home. So yes, those adverse experiences can have an effect on you as a person, and definitely they translate into your adulthood, especially when you don't deal with them. There are those that experience physical abuse in the name of being punished or being corrected. Definitely all the pressures that came with handling all the schoolwork again. You know, you're having very sleepless nights. You're sleeping at 12 and you're up by 3 because you have group discussions and everything else that you need to do. The fitting in as well also comes into play. You'll find that there are some people that had their self-esteem damaged during that period, and especially in boarding school. Self-esteem issues could result even from things like body image. Maybe you are put down by your classmates because you do not have a specific body physique as a person. For the guys, again, maybe you don't have these gentleman vibes, so you're not even able to approach girls when you go for funkies and everything. So yes, all these adverse experiences will lead into adulthood, and they will be translated and seen in how you function as a person as an adulthood. So it's something you're also supposed to deal with.
Now on that part of dealing with, there was inaitwaje, when you ukumenda hiyo boarding school, when you are young, you go, you find life there is very hard for you and you cannot clearly fit in, or you need more time to adjust to it. You come back home, you tell your parent, you know what, sitaezana na hii shule, ni change shule. And then the feedback you get, hakuna shule nakutafutia, ng'ang'ana umalize, uende shule ingine. How do you think those people should address that kind of trauma? Because it relates to coming into this new kind of life you're not accustomed to. You're still trying to adjust, but you're trying to get help from somebody who is much older than you. But instead of them guiding you on what you're supposed to do so that you can fit into that kind of life, they just shut down your requests. Instead of guiding you, they just tell you, deal with it. You know, that's the mentality that is there right now. You go to somebody, you approach them, you tell them, you know what, I have an issue. You know what, you're a man, deal with it. You're a strong lady, deal with it. So how do you think these people should address these childhood traumas, maybe from their schools? Because the main topic today is about schools. How do you think they should address it?
Well, I think I would pass this on maybe to parents and those of you that are older siblings. When your younger sibling comes to you and they tell you that they don't want to go to a specific school, instead of shutting them down, take some time to actually sit down with them and find the reason as to why they don't want to go back to that school. Sometimes it could, be the peer pressure of they've seen their friends transferring, so they also want to go to other schools like everybody else. But then again, there could also be other underlying issues. Maybe they're being bullied, maybe they're being sexually abused. So take some time and sit down with them to be able to understand why exactly they don't want to go that. And then help them figure out if these are things that can be worked out. You guide them. You're supposed to guide. As a parent or an older sibling, yours is not just, taking care of their school fees. They have shopping, they have pocket money, and that's it. Your work doesn't end there. Your work doesn't end there. You also have a role to play in ensuring that they are mentally, they are emotionally also okay. Giving them that guidance and giving them that listening ear. So I know a parent somewhere will be like, but this generation is, if you do that, you're going to be raising a generation of people that are very soft and not ready for the
the
stark
hard
reality of
life.
life. No, you're not. You need to be able to sit down and understand this person.
Yeah.
Help them to know that, yes, life is not easy, but how do they get to a place where they've been able to build resilience to be able to handle whatever is coming to them. So don't just shut them down.
Yes.
Be able to listen to them and also see if there are workable solutions towards their problem. If you realize again, you had asked that question, if you realize that you've had these adverse childhood experiences that are really now eating up into your relationships and into your work and into your family and everything else, then I think it's time to take a step back. I know it's a very new concept for most people, but therapy could also be a solution.
Yeah.
What happens with therapy? A therapist to be able to use things we call techniques in counseling, and one of them is something we call cognitive behavioral therapy. So where we help you to be able to just change those negative thoughts into positive ones. What therapy does to you as a person is providing you that place where you're able to air out whatever has been happening to you. So therapy could be a good place to help you to be able to face whatever it is that you are exposed to as a child, to be able to make peace, get to a point of acceptance that yes, it's happened, but it is not defining who I am as at now. And then you get to a place of being able to heal so that you don't end up passing that on to the people that care about you or the people that love you or even your own kids.
Yeah.
Because sometimes again it could be break that chain.
Yeah.
That's what we usually say. Break that trauma chain. You don't have to pass it on to everybody else.
So you're a professional at this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I told my audience I'll be bringing professional people here. Sitaki kuambia rumors. Mwanze hapa kuchanganyikiwa. I want a professional, person like you to talk to us, because also me, I'm also learning. You see? So in the concept about school, what do you think would be the right measures that administrators in school could use to help raise a generation that is mentally healthy? They're mentally okay, they can easily cope with any kind of situation that comes in their life. Life changes, new things come, some other things go. So what would you advise the administrators in schools to do to better? Because right now, at least in my school, I've noticed there's that guidance and counseling panel. Sometimes they bring professional people from outside. They also communicate to people, their WhatsApp groups. Like if you need to talk to somebody, there are numbers there, there are hotlines. There's a whole week set aside for that. But we can't say the same for the rest of the universities.
Sure.
So what would you advise those other universities that haven't caught up with the mental health awareness?
I think I can just start by first saluting your school administration. I think the rest should actually borrow a leaf from that. So the basic thing would be first to do more of advocacy and awareness, because again, you'll find that yes, even in your school, you'll find that they have established all these systems in place, but there are students that actually don't know that these systems exist. You see? So the first thing would actually to be focus a lot on the advocacy and awareness bit of it. Let them know what mental health is as a whole. You can print flyers and brochures, whatever means it is, and distribute them in the hostels and in the classes and everywhere else. People to just gain an understanding, because as I've told you, most times you meet with a person and you tell them mental health, and the first thing that comes to their mind is the disease, the kuchizi bit of it, and you said it goes beyond that. So help people first understand what mental health is. Give them information on what basic things can they be able to identify. So how do I know that I'm not mentally healthy? Because you're speaking about about mental health. What does a mentally healthy person look like? What should I do in the case where I realize that I'm displaying symptoms of somebody that is not mentally healthy? And then now you can now trickle down to giving them, these are the options that are available. We have school counselors that you can be able to talk to. We have 123 organizations we've partnered with. We have 123 hotline numbers. So start with basically doing advocacy and awareness. Something like a mental health week, as you've mentioned, can actually be a great help, because you definitely do like a setup at a central place where everybody is seeing that and be curious and be able to get that kind of information. Number two is to make sure that the systems that have now been established, those support systems in terms of the professional one, are actually working. Make sure that the professionals or the counselors that are there are being able to do their work as it should be. Don't just get people that you don't want to spend. Because I guess sometimes with these kids, anyone, this one knows how to talk a lot.
This one ni rafiki ya nani ya daktari.
Ama huyu lecturer anajua kuongea sana.
This one is a relative to a therapist.
Bring in somebody that is actually a professional and has diverse experience in that field, and also again somebody that knows how to deal and relate with young people. Not somebody that is going to come and judge them zile za wewe mtu mdogo ni. So make sure that the people that have been put in place are actually being able to deliver that psychotherapy that is actually needed for that person that is in need. Besides providing psychotherapy to an individual, something else that also helps with mental health is being able to have support groups. These are basically safe spaces where we just come together. In a very safe space, we are able to be vulnerable. We open up about what exactly we are going through. We share ideas and experiences. I'm able to get to listen from you. Because sometimes when I listen to people in a support group and I'll be like, wow, Avin is going through this and he's been able to overcome it. So I'm able to see my situation, or rather my problem, as something that I can also be able to get over through that. So they can also support. They can also start support groups for various things. For people that are dealing with relationship issues, for people that are maybe dealing with grief and loss, because that's also something that really eats students when you're having to mourn someone. Basically just safe spaces for young people to come and just be able to talk, and also have a professional in place to also be able to guide through that discussion. Something else that can help is encouraging your students at all levels, even if it's the high school and the primary, to also engage in these co-curricular activities. Not just to have clubs in the school and they're not participating in them. Because co-curricular activities give you a place to be able to unwind, and for a moment you're able to distract yourself from all these stresses that you're experiencing. You're able to take that break, you get re-energized, so that you're able to look at your solution, or rather your problem as something that can be solved, and not your situation as a helpless one. So I think those are the tricky things. Advocacy, making sure that the systems you put in place are really working. Use support groups, and change the conversations. And then again, now for the students that you realize they actually need that help, extensive help, make sure that you do a follow-up on them, so that they're able to get until they are able to stand on their feet on their own.
Yes, I think by addressing mental health with both students and lecturers and even other staffs, it's going to bring even a higher efficiency in productivity in the university, right?
Yes.
And everybody is going to at least make a step forward. We're going to progress together and be healthy mentally. So that's going to be all for the first episode. I'm going to link down Ivy's profile down below, so that if you want to maybe reach out to her, talk to her, she can be able to help you out with whatever you're going through. But I just want you to know that you're not alone in this. Seek help or talk to anybody that you feel safe whenever you feel like you have issues that are underlying and they're really affecting how you relate to other people. So that's going to be all. Thank you, Evie, for coming to my show.
Thank you for having me.
That's it. Peace out, guys.